Gridiron Grinder! Hut hut hike!
Here we go. It's Friday night. It's Gridiron Grinder time. I'm Ryan. With me, as always, is my buddy James. It is Super Wildcard Weekend, part two. Fuck yeah. And so this is episode 80 of Gridiron Grinder for anybody who wanted to know that. And tonight we're going to kick things off with Name That Stadium like we always do. Then we're going to do our recap of the news from the past week. And then after that, we're going to go back now that the regular season's over, and we're going to do our recap of our picks for the season. We're going to take a look at what our preseason predictions were and where we were right, where we were wrong, how it all kind of got there. After that, we'll talk a little bit about our new playoff bet, which new for now, but we did a playoff bet last year, obviously. And then we're going to provide our game picks for the upcoming NFL Super Wildcard round. So, and last but not least, we'll be doing question of the week. So, with all that being said, how's it going tonight, James?
It's going good. How's it going with you?
It's going good, dude. I'm winded. That's just like the longest fucking agenda we've had for a show in a long time. So, it's good it only happens once a year, right? So,
Yeah, really.
cool. Well, yeah, so let's jump into Name That Stadium. And so, for anybody who's watching, this is the part of the show. If you haven't seen it before, you can see James is out there traveling the country. And so, every week, he puts a different stadium in his background. Typically, during the season, playoffs count. It's a stadium for a home team that's playing this weekend. And we're just asking if you think you know what the stadium is, hit us up in our comments section. If you're the first person to get the right answer, we'll give you a shout out in next week's show. And so, James, where were you at last week, man?
Last week I was in Miami for that New England Miami game, just because I thought it was going to be. Everyone thought New England was definitely going to win it, and I was certain Miami was going to win it, so I just picked it for that.
Gotcha. Yeah, and Miami news, man, I don't know. I know that there was the rumblings about Flores, but I was kind of surprised with how hot they finished the season that they actually fired him, man.
Yeah, I was really surprised too. I think it was a complete mistake. Like anytime you fire your head coach and he instantly becomes the number one candidate on every team's list, you did
Yeah.
something wrong.
It was a bad choice, I think. Yeah. And I mean, I know that there was some rift inside the building and him and the players had some problems, but man, I mean, they started what, 1-7, and then they just went on a fucking tear. I can't, when you turn it around like that, it's like, geez, like you got to at least see how next year goes and see if they got some momentum that carries. But hey, it is what it is. What's done is done.
Yeah, it's just kind of a bad situation.
All right. Well, let's talk more about the coaching stuff as we do our recap of the past week because there's a ton of it there, and let's just kick it over to that. So, looking at the news from this past week, and I'll start just by talking about that Colts game for a minute against the Jags. I mean, I almost certain we were both blown away that they lost that game, which I guess it's, for whatever it's worth. I read something like they're 0-7 at Jacksonville out of their last 7 games or whatever. I mean, I don't know how that's possible, but, they shit the bed and, it was a win and you're in kind of situation. And so for them to swing and mess against our bottom feeder team, man, it blows my mind, man. It just seems like they could have just ran the ball 50 fucking times and ran away with that game. But they didn't. Their game plan was jacked. So,
Yeah, I didn't see much of the game. I don't even know. I don't know why. Like, I don't remember why I didn't turn to it. It's just, I think it's just I assumed it was going to be a blowout and never actually checked the score of it. But I mean, they lost by 15, and they were a 15-point fucking favorite.
yeah, that should never happen.
Yeah, it's like that could be the worst final game of the regular season that any team has played in NFL history.
Yeah, it might be because it was such a high stakes game. Not even looking at the point swing, but just the fact that it knocked them out of the playoffs when, they had the rocky start to the year, which everybody was expecting because the way, Wentz and some of the injuries and everything came right up to the first game. And then they had such a tough slate right out of the gate. And then it's like all of a sudden they gelled and they went on a sweet run and they controlled their destiny. And they just, all I can say is they shit the bed. That's the only way to put it.
Yeah, it's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's move on here because there's a lot to hit in the news. The next one I got is just hitting on Baker Mayfield and the Browns. Looks like they're going to be committing to him at quarterback for another year, which is going to be his fifth-year option, which is 18.858 million guaranteed. James, I see you shaking your head. I swear I just read this the other day. What, did something new come out on this?
No, it's not something new came out on it, but it's more of an opinion and more of like other little stuff I'm reading. What the fuck else are you gonna do if you're the coach or the GM for the Browns, but say you're gonna commit to Baker and he's your quarterback, blah blah blah, blah blah, bullshit, trade him. Because as soon as you say he's not your quarterback, his trade value plummets even further than what it is now.
So I'm glad you said all that because I was going to go there, maybe not that bluntly, but yeah, it's clear that neither side is happy, but it also seems like neither side believes that a split is best at this time. And the team may be putting out feelers. You never know. I know they still have Keenum under contract for another year. And so, that makes me wonder if they hang on to Baker, you know, would they go and draft a guy maybe in the second round, or maybe they take a flyer at the end of the first? Well, I don't know, not necessarily towards the end of the first round, but with their first round pick. But it's like you wouldn't want to carry three quarterbacks on the roster. And so, you know, and I just think for that 18.858 million guaranteed, I think they're going to have a hard time finding a trade partner. And so it's just that's not like an exorbitant amount in today's NFL, but it's a lot for Baker Mayfield. I think a team would have to be like, we're just not going to get somebody in the draft, and we need a guy for this next year, and it's got to happen, and this is just the best we're going to get. That's the only way it would work, man.
Yeah, I know. I think Baker's NFL career is basically done. Like, I don't see him as an NFL quarterback. It's another swing and a miss. I mean, shit. There's so many other players or other quarterbacks that they could have drafted that have over the years. I mean, shit. Like, how long is it since the Browns have had a quarterback? Was it like the 80s when they had a real quarterback the last time? What's his face?
Yeah, we're going back, dude. I couldn't even. I mean, I'd have to really do some
the
thinking.
last real quarterback was like Bernie Kosar or something like that.
Yeah, I don't even know. It hurts my brain thinking about it. It's been that long. I like Baker, but he's got to be on a team that's pretty much complete. And I think the Browns are actually close to that. But it's like everything's got to go right in terms of, the run game, setting up the play action for him. And he's got to have good receivers. And I think the receiver play was dicey this year, which, I mean, hey, OBJ's gone. But, the other guys like Jarvis Landry and the rest of the group, whether they were injured or they just didn't really step up, they need like a clear number one for him. And they don't really have that. But it's, I don't know. I think he's okay. I just don't think he's definitely not top half of the league, and, I don't know. I think he's in the bottom half somewhere. I think he's better than a career backup, but, that bottom half is always going to be scrutinized. That's like Andy Dalton territory.
He might be in like the bottom 6 of the league.
Yeah. I'd be comfortable with that because you're right. There's a lot of good passers now. So, yeah.
I mean, it's just, and especially projecting into next year with how some of these quarterbacks are projecting, he might even barely be able to make it into at number 32.
I mean, I think he's better than Sam Darnold.
Yeah, but Sam Darnold's not going to be an NFL quarterback next year.
No, but there will be another version of Sam Darnold. So I don't know. He was better than Trevor Lawrence. So I don't. Yeah, bottom 6. I'll agree to bottom 6. That makes sense to me. All right, so let's let's move it on here. Let's hit up the coaching carousel for a minute because there's a lot going on in the coaching carousel. We know the Raiders have an opening. Obviously, all the shit that went down with John Gruden earlier in the year. And James, you brought it up last week, I believe, or maybe it was even the week before, that there was a rumor about them being interested in Jim Harbaugh. And it looks like that's all substantiated now from what I'm seeing. And so I actually like it. If they're going to hang on to Derek Carr, which there would be no reason not to, he had a career year basically. Get him a guy like Harbaugh that's going to help keep him on that track and focus on the offense because they're closer to being competitive offensively than they are defensively. And so I'm all about, work on your strengths and then go and then fill in the rest later. It just I don't know. I see a lot of times they go after a defensive guy and they neglect the offense and then shit just falls to fucking hell. And so it's but it's interesting. I mean, maybe Harbaugh will be coming back, man.
Oh, Harbaugh is coming back. It's just a matter of where he's going to go. I think actually, the more I think about it, I think Miami is the place Harbaugh's going to end up.
Even though what's his name,
Yeah,
Ross or whatever said no.
he's not going to take him away from Michigan,
Okay,
but
but if he bails,
if
then he'll
he
pick him up.
bails, then he'll pick
Uh,
him up.
so all right, so
Um,
it's semantics.
yeah. So I think the reasoning behind the firing of Flores
Yeah.
is to get Harbaugh. Like I
Okay.
100% think that. I hear Harbaugh's
Uh,
putting together uh, NFL coaching staff and setting everything up, and who knows? All of this might be to go to Michigan because like last year, like coming into this year, Michigan cut Harbaugh's pay, and so I think he might be setting things up to go to Michigan and be like, "Give me my money, fucking back, bitches."
oh,
And
jeez,
as
man.
bargaining
Yeah.
ploy. But there's a possibility of that. But I think the situation it might be Miami. Ross is a alum of Michigan, and he's a big booster for Michigan. So it just seems to make sense. And you look at the league, the Raiders would make sense because he would be given full control. But outside of that, I think those were about the two teams that would be left. Jacksonville that shows no interest of firing Belky, the GM there, who
Yeah.
Harbaugh can't fucking stand.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Houston's not really feasible. You know that they got issues in the front office, so he wouldn't want to go there more than likely. I gotcha. Well, it'd be interesting to get him back, man. Yeah, I don't know. I got mixed feelings about it, but if he's with a guy like Derek Carr, I think I could get excited about that.
Hmm.
It reminds me a little bit of when he had Alex Smith, and I remember he'd like bang on his shoulder pads and smack his helmet, and Alex Smith would get all fired up, and it's like I could see him doing that with Derek Carr and it working. It's that when he transitioned that to Colin Kaepernick, and Kaepernick basically just like shrugged him off. It was like, come on, man, if your coach can't even get you fired up, then something's fucking wrong. So,
Yeah.
but I think that was more Kaepernick than Harbaugh, to be honest. So. All right, so next coach situation. Yeah, I mean, you talked about the Jags a little bit. They have an opening, obviously, after the Urban Meyer bullshit. Looks like they're interested in Leftwich. They're interested in Caldwell, among other people. You know my opinion. We talked about it like a week ago. I'd love it if they grabbed a guy like Leftwich and had a homecoming, so long as he got paired up with a great defensive coordinator, which, by the way, Vic Fangio did get fired. And
Mhm.
so I don't know what his future is, what he wants to do. I know he's a little long in the tooth, but if he's not too proud to take a defensive coordinator job, man, that's a sweet combo, in my opinion.
Yeah, that'd be a good combo there. I think whoever if Fangio goes back and is a defensive coordinator, I think that team is way better off with him as defensive coordinator. I just don't think he's a head coach.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't think he has that administrative CEO type and stuff. He doesn't have the talent for it. But as a defensive coordinator, fucking awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and he was the defensive coordinator in Chicago, and so I'll just go there next. Obviously, they fired Nagy. We talked that everybody was expecting that to happen, and it looks like they were either they were either interested in or already interviewed Flores from Miami, and so I doubt Fangio would go back there, but you know they're working it, man, and I think Flores to Chicago, that'd be, I think Flores going almost anywhere is good. I liked him as a coach. I just think it was incomplete in Miami.
I think for Chicago, I honestly, what I'm reading is it's basically Leslie Frazier's job if he wants it.
Oh wow, okay. I mean, I'd like that. Leslie Frazier was defensive minded guy. Maybe restore some of that glory in Chicago. And then they can hopefully get a good offensive coordinator to work with Fields. But I do worry about that. You got a lot invested in Fields. It's just another one where it's like maybe they'd be better suited going with an offensive minded guy, but it's all about the right pairing, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, for offensive, like, there's not really that many offensive-minded guys that I would put up there with as potential head coaching. I mean, you have Dayball and Buffalo and
Yeah, you
what's
got like Bieniemy from
the enemy.
Kansas
Thank you.
City,
Like,
and then
I
I don't know. Like Kellen Moore's been getting some looks, I think. And then Leftwich, but it's
yeah, maybe the offensive coordinator in Green Bay. What's his name?
oh, I'm drawing a
Uh,
blank.
Hackett. Hackett.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so moving along, Houston next. This one, man, I wanted to talk about just for a minute is that they fired David Culley, and it bothers me a bit, James. And I'll just start by saying I was not a fan of them hiring him to begin with, but I think it's a bit of a dick punch to fire the guy after one season when the team was in such disarray. I think he actually did pretty damn good by getting 4 wins out of them. And I don't know. I just, like I said, I wasn't a big fan of the hire. I just think that the fire, uh, it just seemed out of turn, in my opinion.
Oh, it's a total dick move. I mean, we'll go over it in our recap of the regular season, our recap of our preseason picks. I didn't think Houston, with all that disarray they had there, I didn't think they had a chance to win a fucking game this year.
Yeah. Yeah, we
And,
both had him really low. Yeah.
and I mean, they won 4 games. The team progressively got better every week, and then you fucking fire him. Like, why did you hire him if you're just not going to set him up to fail and then fire his
Yeah.
ass?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what his contract was, but I hope he got a good deal because they just totally fucked the guy. It was bullshit, you know?
I I think his contract was pittance. It
Not
was
yeah, not solid. Well, I mean, it came out of left field. Everybody was shocked by that hiring. And so it just but it's a dick move. So and then the next one is Minnesota. They fired Mike Zimmer. And this one's, it's a mixed bag. I mean, I had a lot of respect for Zimmer, but I lost it over time. It just seemed like he never took any personal accountability for the team doing poorly. He was early on, like when Cousins was there, blaming Cousins, and then not only blaming Cousins, but just like blatantly running the shit out of the ball to avoid Cousins having a chance to pass and do anything. And then it's like, this past year, it was all about the defense. And he just, I don't know. I just didn't ever see him take that kind of accountability that a head coach needs to take. And it's tough. I mean, they missed the playoffs 5 out of 8 years that he was there. And this past year, the defense was fucking horrible. They were in the bottom of the barrel in all major defensive categories, even though they dumped a ton of money into them in free agency trying to retool it, man. It's just not a good look.
Holy shit. They owe David Culley almost $20 million a fucking year for the next 3 seasons.
Good for him.
Well, sorry, with Minnesota, I just Zimmer lost that team. The surprise with Minnesota was they fired Spielman too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true because I thought he was pretty well liked and pretty well respected across the league, not just in
Exactly.
Minnesota. But yeah, no, they cleaned house top to bottom there. So yeah. Okay, we talked a little bit about Vic Fangio. I will like I agree with what you're saying. I'm not sure that he's head coach material, but I think it's the quarterback situation that really plagued that team, not necessarily him as a coach. And I think that quarterback situation, I think that falls more on Elway than it does on Fangio. But either way, man, he's the fall guy. He's the head coach. That's just how it works. And they're not going to bounce out Elway, the golden boy, at least not yet. They'll give him as many chances as they can until the fan base like basically revolts on him. So
Yeah, well, the problem with Fangio was he had a lot of questionable decisions, like in-game decisions
yeah,
that he made. That's where I say he's not a head coach, and that's that's another possible landing spot for the offensive coordinator from Green Bay. You get the offensive coordinator from Green Bay, you get Aaron Rodgers to come along with
oh
them,
shit,
instantly a Super Bowl contender. I mean, there's other names I'm hearing for
yeah.
Denver too, like fucking Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I did hear that. I heard Denver has serious interest in Aaron Glenn, which, you know, I mean, I like him. It's tough because it's not like the Lions defense was dominant in any way, but I think that people probably they just heard about the respect he got in the locker room, and maybe they just thought the defense was going to be like so fucking horribly bad that it was just bad, and they were like, "Oh, he moved a mountain just to make him bad," like I don't know. So
Yeah, who knows? I just think that it's weird that you have a coordinator from a losing team that's a head coaching candidate. I can't
it,
remember the last time I heard that.
it's an abnormal thing to do for sure.
Yeah.
All right, and I'm just pushing forward here, James. So if I'm going too fast, you got to stop me. But
Oh no,
the
you're good.
the next one was the Giants. They actually fired Joe Judge. A week after they said he was safe and they were hanging on to him. A little bit of a strange twist of events, but it was the right move in my opinion, and I think that you share that opinion.
Yeah, well, that's because Judge fucking was basically threw in the towel on the team. You have fucking 3rd and 9 on your 10-yard line, and you run a QB sneak. Or I'm sorry, 2nd and 9, and you run a QB sneak, and then on 3rd down, you run the same fucking play. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, do you even know a thing about football? That when you get 1 yard, it's not how many yards you've gained since first down, it's how many yards you need.
Yeah, no, the game theory is lacking with him, and I don't know. I mean, that team just wasn't going anywhere, and so I'm glad they got rid of him. Um, Next one is Carolina. They're hanging on to Matt Rule. What's his name? Their owner, is behind him, talking positively about him. Looks like he's eyeing Jay Gruden or Bill O'Brien to come in and be the next offensive coordinator. I think I'm okay with it for right now. Okay, but I think that he's got to be on a super tight leash because 2 years in a row, they came out of the gate looking good and then fell on their faces in a hard way. It does bother me that he's throwing offensive coordinators under the bus, but there's a lot of issues going on with the offensive side of the ball personnel wise. McCaffrey got hurt both seasons. I don't know. Okay, keep him, but keep him on a tight leash. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I don't believe that Bill Ryan will go to the NFL to be a coordinator. I mean, he's in like the perfect situation at Alabama as their offensive coordinator. I mean, this was a rebuild year for them, and they made it to the fucking national championship game. So I mean, this is Alabama's version of a rebuild. That team's bringing back basically the entire team they had this year, next year. That team's going to be pretty fucking dominant next year, and Bill O'Brien can just kind of build that momentum to getting another head coaching job. As long as you keep him out of player personnel decisions, he's a good head coach. He's a winning head coach. It's just when you give him player personnel control that he seems to fuck things up.
No, you're right about that. And I think he's in the catbird seat. If he waits another year, he could cherry pick a good opportunity. Yeah. No, I think that's actually a really good strategy. And then, the last one that I got, which nothing's happened, but it's, just keep an eye on what's going on in Seattle. Pete Carroll in Seattle, they're both talking about waiting to see how they view the future and what's going to go on. And, Pete Carroll's saying that he doesn't think the team needs to be doing a rebuild. You got whatever's going on with Russell Wilson. He's saying he wants to be there. It sounds like maybe, that's not all true, or maybe the team just thinks something's got to change. I don't know. But, obviously it's there's some moving pieces in Seattle, so anything could happen there.
Yeah. The one I'm surprised hasn't happened yet is I'm surprised that Brandon Staley didn't get fired with the Chargers.
I think it was a good first year, man.
Yeah, but his in-game decisions cost the Chargers the fucking playoff.
He went for it on fourth down a lot throughout the year.
But go fourth down from your own 19-yard line, which led to a field goal. I mean, fuck, the Raiders were playing for the fucking tie.
Yeah.
And then he calls timeout, and it's like, oh, and even the Carr and Basacci both said that the mentality changed when they called the timeout. Like they were just playing to make the playoffs. They tried not to make a mistake. He called the fucking timeout, and they're like, oh, you're not gonna fucking play ball? Well, we'll beat your ass and knock your ass out of the fucking playoffs. Then you have other examples where his in-game decisions fucking cost the team a game, and that the Chargers win one more game, they make the playoffs.
I'd give him one more year, man, because honestly, a lot of people got carried away with them this year, and I guess we'll find out when I get to my preseason predictions. But I had tempered my expectations on them, I thought, but we'll find out as we get there. I think there was a lot of positives. I think their defense was extremely porous, especially against the run.
Mm-hmm.
Give the guy one more year and see what he can do, because I mean, he did have a lockdown defense with the Rams, and so I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I would just give that guy one more chance. Okay.
Yeah, I just would have fired his ass.
That's a lot of coaches, man. There's a lot of action on this quarterback coaching carousel this year, but that's okay. You got to get results in the NFL, man, or you got to move on.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I did pick up news-wise is I saw 7 teams were unbeaten in December. Dallas, Green Bay, Indy, Kansas City, the Los Angeles Rams, the Miami Dolphins, and the Philadelphia Eagles. It's the first time 6 or more teams were unbeaten in December since 1986. Pretty wild, man. And then, I think just going a little further with it, I was reading an article on Football Outsiders. They're saying it doesn't even matter that they finished the year hot. Like the stats show, it's like basically still a coin toss in the playoffs. So like, you might be thinking, oh man, Dallas finished on a tear. They're just going to keep that momentum going into the playoffs. The stats don't support that shit, but it's still pretty crazy that 7 teams were unbeaten in that month, man.
Yeah, but you also have to kind of look at who the teams played in the month of December. Like the Cowboys in December had like 3 or 4 games against the NFC East.
Yeah, some cush games.
And Philadelphia hasn't played a good team since they played Dallas last.
Okay. Well, all right. I don't know. I still think it's cool, but yeah,
well,
I hear you.
They finished the season with Dallas. Never mind. No, they didn't. I'm second guessing myself now on that. Anyways, but there was a bunch of easy games for these teams to easily pick up and win.
Gotcha. All right. Well, here let's talk about new records while we're on the news because the 18th game, or I mean, the 17th game, the extra week 18. Everybody was expecting some records to be broken this year, and some of them you got to put an asterisk by for a while, some you don't. I think it's one of these things where it's like, you know, years down the road, that asterisk will go away because there will be like such enough history at that point that this new game is just the norm. But you got to be careful with some of these. And so some of them are worthy of it, some of them maybe not. Like I saw Mark Andrews, he passed Derek Mason for the Ravens single season receptions record with 103. That extra game I'm sure helped, but I don't know. Maybe Mark Andrews missed a game this year, like tight ends get banged up a lot. Jamar Chase passed Chad Ocho Cinco Johnson for the Bengals single season receiving yards record. That's impressive. I mean, he's a rookie, and it would have been sweet if he gotten it done a week earlier, just so you could say, "Fucking don't put an asterisk next to it," but still pretty badass nonetheless. Dak Prescott passed Tony Romo for the Cowboys single season touchdown passes record with 37. That one I think is pretty legit because Dak did miss some time, so you can say that that's a legit record. Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Lions passed Roy Williams for the Lions single season receiving yards record, which, man, it was only 817 yards. But I look at the difference between the Lions and the Bengals. Jamar Chase sets a record with 1,440 yards. All it took St. Brown was 817 on the Lions, but that's the difference. And then Devontae Adams passed Jordy Nelson for the Packers single season receiving yards record, 1,519 yards. That's the extra game. So put the asterisk next to that one, I think. Jalen Waddle passed Anquan Bolden for the NFL single season receptions by a rookie record with 101. And then TJ Watt tied Michael Strahan for the NFL single season sack record with 22 and a half. James, you pointed out TJ Watt missed a number of games. So that tie, even though he didn't break it, that's a pretty solid fucking tie, man. If he would have had another game.
But I think I had heard something, and like it might have been Strahan like goofing around on it, like because Watt missed I think like 2 or 3 games, and I think that Strahan was saying that he missed games the season set the record.
All right. So yeah, he's strengthening his 22 and a half. Yeah, he's saying do it on a per game basis, and he's still the man. I got you. Yeah, and while you look that up, I got one last one, which is Tom Brady broke Drew Brees' NFL record for completions in a season with 471, and he's also the oldest player at age 44 to pass for 5,000 yards in a season. Fucking Brady, just the cyborg is what I'm gonna call him.
Yeah, he also has the most receiving yards or second most receiving yards for somebody over the age of 40 in the NFL too. So
the second most receiving yards.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that's an interesting stat.
I don't know where I heard that. It was like somebody had said that, but no, Strahan was goofing around. So I hadn't checked it out, and it turns out that Strahan was saying, yeah, I did it in less, just to kind of.
Okay. Yeah, get his dig in that, yeah, I get it. And I like Strahan. That's fine. All right. So that, there's more news stuff going on. I don't, if you got something you want to hit, that's cool. But I know I've been just rambling for about a half an hour now.
Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to hit. I just wanted to get the.
Oh, shit. You know what? I had one more. I don't mean to cut you off, but you probably saw Eric Weddle, safety, coming out of retirement, joining the Rams for their playoff push. They did have an injury at safety, and so he's coming in. Sounds like the guy, stayed in shape and could be starting right off the bat here. This is one I'm just going to say, James, it kind of pisses me off because it seems like a guy I don't know, like there needs to be a qualifier where you got to like be on the team for a certain amount of time before you can be eligible for the playoffs. I don't know. It's like lock the rosters down because otherwise you could have shit like this all the time and it could create an unfair advantage, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that, but yeah, I kind of agree with you. It seems a little bullshit, but I mean, I understand maybe they tweaked the rules because of like the COVID stuff for the last couple of years where you can do this, but it does not seem fair.
No, yeah. I'm glad that you agree with me on that. All right, so that's our lengthy news segment here. Let's move it on. Let's do our regular season picks recap. And so, the regular season's in the books, and our game picks came down to the wire. I had a pretty commanding lead about a month ago, and then literally it came down to the final week. And so you ended up finishing with 158 wins on the season, which was good for a 58% hit rate. I finished with 163, which was good for 60%. And honestly, like I got to just explain it that you did tweak your picks as the week was going on, or as the games were going on, rather, because you were trying to play catch up and do everything you could. Otherwise, you never know. You might have been. I think if you would have stuck with the original picks, you would have lost by one game, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think that's what it was too. Well, I think it was two.
Okay.
Or
Either
something.
way, that's pretty damn close, man. Over the course of a whole season to be that tight.
Yeah. And like a couple things pissed me off because like my instincts on a couple of the games, I changed them going into the week. Like I changed the fucking Detroit game, which
Yeah.
I thought Detroit was going to win. I kind of I I had thought about picking, and I was going to just pick the upset. Not saying that I really thought they were win. I just knew it would be a game that you didn't pick, and I thought that there might be a chance that that could happen based on some things that happened. That Jacksonville kind of surprised Indy, and so I almost picked that, and I went back and forth. Like if I would have stuck with a couple of my picks that I was going back and forth on, like the Raiders, like I was back and forth on the Raiders and the Chargers game and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I would have been fine or tied, but I just
It's tough, man. It's tough
second
picking
guessed
those
myself.
games. Yeah. No, and maybe that's what it was. If I was going to give you the Lions game, you would have been within one if you would have held the original picks with that adjustment. Because I do remember last week you were talking about the Lions and I'm like, "Oh man, you can't do the Lions." And then you switched your pick and so I was like, "Oh shit, I hope I didn't sway you." But um, either way, I'm the big winner here, James, and this is how it worked out last year. I won the regular season, and then we did our playoff bet, and you got me back there, and so,
Yeah, I
well,
nearly went perfect in the playoffs. I think I got like two games wrong the entire playoffs.
yeah, you crushed me in the playoffs. But you know what? I'm a winner here, and I'll take it. I'll do a little pat on the back, even though honestly we sucked compared to last year. Okay, and so just for a point of reference, last year you had 151 wins with a full week less of games, which was good for 59%. And it was similar where you kind of got a little desperate at the end because you had to make some stuff up. I think you would have been plus 60% last year. It just, got dicey at the end. I finished last year with 171 wins. Freaking that's crazy. I finished with more wins with one less game, which was good for 67%. That's pretty solid. Last year, I felt good about it. But, the bottom line is we got to get our shit together for next year. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. But it's not over yet. We'll talk about the playoffs in a little bit. Let's go back. Let's take a look at what our preseason predictions were. Let's talk about what we got right, what we got wrong, how it all shook out, all that kind of fun stuff. And so, James, I thought for this section, the best thing to do would just be kind of go through division by division. And, we could go, okay, these guys won the division, this is it, blah, 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 blah. And we'll do that. So if you're good with that, we'll start with the AFC East. Um, and yeah, man, I mean, I'm looking at it. You and I both had Buffalo and New England. We had the order right. And then we had Miami. and the Jets. And so top to bottom, we had the order right. We were a little off on some of the win-loss record, but I think overall that's a big win just getting the order down.
Yeah, getting the order down, and like if I was looking at mine, like New England and Miami, I got their wins right on, which it's freaky with Miami because of how the season played out for them, where they went on the 7-game losing streak, then a 7-game winning streak, and somehow it ended up at I had them 9-8, and that's what they finished. And New England, that's just what I felt going into the season about where they were. I had them missing the playoffs at 10-7 because I had the Colts making it instead. We'll get to that when we get to the South. But the other two teams in the division, I was within 2 games of having the record correct. Like the Jets won 2 more games and the Bills lost 2 more games than I thought would happen this year.
Yeah, for sure. No, that was a pretty dang good gleaning into the future when we did this a couple months back. And yeah, man, you hit you hit a couple of the records right. You hit New England and Miami. I hit the Jets on the head, so that was cool, But yeah, we did pretty good there. The next one we're going to move on to, we did not do as well with, which was the AFC North. And so, man, we both, I'm just looking at it, messed this up. I mean, like, I messed up the order, I messed up the rankings. I mean, obviously, the Bengals were the big surprise. They kicked ass, And then I know you dogged Pittsburgh big time. Somehow they slid into the playoffs, but just give me your rundown on what you saw here and
Well,
what you
a
picked
couple
up.
things on the North is like Baltimore. Like I actually had downgrade. This was like a downgrade. Like in like May or something, we had talked about them or talked about our projected records, like where we thought they were. And I mean, oh, I guess I didn't subtract any games from it, but I had still had Cleveland. Like, who would have thought that Baltimore was going to go on a 6-game losing streak?
Yeah,
That they were going to lose Lamar Jackson for as many games as they did. And yeah, Tyler Huntley did fine in some games, but I mean that team goes through Lamar, and then it just they kind of just fell off the cliff with all the injuries, and it caught up to them a little bit. Coaching decisions, like 2 of the games they lost.
yeah, they did go for two too many
Exactly.
times, and it blew up in their face. And then even then they went for fourth downs a lot. Harbaugh was a lot more aggressive this year, and in my opinion, he was playing fast and loose because it's like, he basically would just ask Lamar, "Do you want to go for it?" And Lamar would be like, "Yeah." Well, fucking obviously Lamar's going to say he wants to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't
Exactly.
mean doesn't mean you do it.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh was a little bit of surprise. Like I think a few of the wins or losses for like Jacksonville and Cleveland were to Pittsburgh. I didn't think Pittsburgh had anything this year. I thought they were going to be one of the worst teams in the league. Didn't have a shot at the playoffs. Tomlin's first sub 500. Like I thought that was the lock of the year that they wouldn't even be 500. And I mean, turns out that they kind of pushed it. And I'm wondering if Ben was rooting for a tie for the in the Chargers.
Just so he wouldn't have to get smoked in the playoffs.
No, not so he wouldn't have to get smoked in the playoffs, but it was set up to be the perfect bookended career for Ben. His very first start for the Steelers was in Baltimore.
Okay.
His
So yeah, his
if they
last
made
one would
the
have been
playoffs, his very last start for Pittsburgh would have been in Baltimore, and he just
gotcha.
lined up perfectly to where it was bookended. Now that you have to add in the playoffs, so it's like his last regular season start was
Hey,
in Baltimore.
it's not too late. He could get COVID, James.
True.
So
Did
yeah,
he? I thought he already had it.
I don't know, dude. It's you can get it many times. You can get it more than once. Yeah, no, so I thought Pittsburgh was going to have a good year. I thought they were going to come back. They were going to be better. I thought Big Ben had at least one more year in him with the way quarterbacks have been playing so late in their careers. And then really, I mean, I just was like way off on Cincinnati. I thought that I thought that they needed at least one more year to put some talent around Joe Burrow. I thought that the offensive line, they got Riley Reef. I thought that was great, and they were getting I don't know, they either drafted a guy or whatever, got a guy back from injury, but I thought they still needed a piece there. And then I just thought the defense was fucking littered with gaps. And I know that they went out and they took a lot of shots on the secondary. And I mean, either way, it worked. Their defense, as the year went on, they had some really good games. They locked it down, and they just blew me away. And then Burrow, in the preseason, I don't want to forget about him and Jamar Chase. Everybody was saying Burrow looked scared in the pocket. He just wasn't comfortable. And then Jamar Chase was dropping passes, and it was like it was teed up to be a disaster. And it was like, was that all just like some kind of show? Because as soon as the first game was played, I mean, they were like dialed in, man.
Yeah, and the thing with Cincinnati, like I kind of tempered my excitement with them. Like I've been talking. I was talking all off season how I thought this team was like on the cusp of being great.
Yeah.
But I tempered my excitement with them coming into this year is because I thought Burrow needed one more year, especially coming back from the injury he
Yeah.
had. I thought he needed one more year, so I had their record flipped. I had them at 7-10, so because I was kind of tempering my excitement on it, trying to like chomping at the bit, but not quite willing to take that leap yet because of what Burrow went through last year.
I gotcha. Um, yeah, no, and hey, it was impressive. Well, here, let's jump over. Let's do the AFC South. And so this one, just looking at it, we both did better here for the most part. We had the top two right, and then I had the bottom two right, but you had the bottom two flipped, which, I mean, anybody would have done that with Houston. They just looked so bad going into the year. But, we both had Tennessee on top and then Indy. Um, I had Indy at 8-9, and so I thought that they were just going to miss the playoffs originally. And as the year went on, man, I really thought they were going to get in, but that changed. Houston, I only had them at 2 wins. In Jacksonville, I only had them at one. It's hard to put a team at 1 win. Usually they find a way to get a couple more, but it just there wasn't a lot to look forward to there with either of those teams, man.
Yeah, and Houston, I had them at 0 wins. Like I just thought they were gonna be terrible this year. And the thing is yeah, I had the order flipped, order wrong, but I had Jacksonville's win total right on.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, 3-14. I like that.
Everyone was talking how much better Jacksonville was going to be with Urban Meyer, and I was like, hold on a second,
Pump the
let's
brakes. Yeah.
pump the brakes. He's going to lose probably double his college loss total for his entire career in the first season.
Yeah, and my whole thing was, hey, they had the number one pick for a reason. It's
Mhm.
just give it time. And I saw you got Tennessee's record right too, man. You nailed them at 12-5, so that was solid. So and they impressed me getting to 12 wins. I did not expect that. Like they just the last few years they've been one of those teams where they get the wins, but they don't just like run away with wins. And so them getting to 12, especially with all the injuries and stuff they
Mhm.
dealt with this year, that was impressive.
Yeah, I mean, having the number one seed in the AFC, I mean, Vrabel might honestly get Coach of the Year this year because of getting
Man,
that team to the number one seed in the AFC after losing their biggest weapon and all the other injuries they had during the season. How many games did Julio and what's the other guy's name?
oh, AJ Brown.
AJ Brown, yes. How many games did they miss? I mean, there was
Yeah.
multiple games where they were out. Both of them were out, and the team still persevered and still was able to have the best record in the conference.
All right, so let's just take a pause and question of the week. I had a garbage question. Let's just make it about Coach of the Year, and let's come back to this because I
Okay.
want to talk about who the feasible options are and just like who we think has the edge to get it because there's a handful of guys this year that I think you can make the case for, but that's an interesting one with Vrabel. All right, anything else on the AFC South, or are you good to move to the West?
No, I'm good to move to the West.
All right, so AFC West wise, you know, I don't know. I didn't have the order right, but I kind of was. I had basically Denver, LA, and Las Vegas very tight because I just thought they were all kind of everybody's secondary to the Chiefs, and they were all kind of in that same grouping. But looking over at yours, you had KC, you had the Chargers. You were pretty close. Then you had then you had the Raiders, and then the Broncos. And so, you know, it's tough, man. This was such a hard division to predict. Really,
Hmm.
it was. And yeah, Kansas City obviously they took it, and then the Raiders, man, they just fucking like willed their way into the playoffs, man. Like that, I didn't see that coming, especially after everything happened with Gruden. But that good for them, dude. I'm happy for them.
Yeah, and I was looking at actually looking at it, and I was really this one here with the Raiders record. I had the Raiders at 9-8, and I looked at like my projected because I went through when I did them. I went through their season win loss, like who they're going to beat and who they're not going to beat. I got every game right for them in my preseason predictions except for the Chargers game.
Oh
That
no
the season.
shit. Oh, that's
I got
pretty awesome.
every fucking game right except for that last game. And if I would have gotten that last game right, I would have had their record obviously had the record right on.
Yeah.
And the Chargers, I mean, I was within a couple of games with them. I thought they had some. It was the two games there is that fucked up Houston game and the Raiders game.
Yeah.
So I was right on with these teams with the bottom three teams, kind of like within a couple of games. The Chiefs, who would have thought that they would have lost 5 games this year?
And it was all just the way they started, man. And then they rallied. But yeah, nobody was expecting that with the Chiefs. Yeah, and I had Denver at 8 wins. I thought Denver, I mean, I get it. They had seven, and so I wasn't far off, but I thought that they could have outperformed what my original 8 wins was if they just had decent, not good, but decent quarterback play. And they just fucking couldn't get, and it blows my mind, man, with all the weapons they have on that offense, they couldn't get it done, dude. It just bums me out, man.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm good on the West. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good on the West.
All right, let's flip it over to the NFC. We'll start off with the NFC East. And this one, I'm just looking. So I had no, I didn't have the order right. I actually had the Giants above the Eagles. That's how low I felt about the Eagles early on. And I remember I wanted them to give Hurts the opportunity. Wasn't sure how that was going to work out. Sirianni wasn't really committing to him at first, and and I mean, we just knew that their talent level on the roster was at an all-time low with just the way that they had done things these past few years. It like all came to a head this year. I thought it was going to be a disaster, and I was pleasantly surprised, man. Hurts has been. I think he deserves another shot to keep that job. I don't think anybody doubts him at this point, but he's impressed, and I think the defense has gotten better as the year went on. They need a lot of improvement, but the secondary did get better, and yeah, I mean, they got a good offensive line when they stay healthy, and I think they finished the year as the top rushing offense. That blew my mind a little bit.
Mhm. See, for the Giants and the Eagles, I had them both at 3-14. So I could claim that I had the right order. I put them in a different order because I tried to go through the tiebreaker on like
I've
my
got you.
on it and ended up with the Giants above Philly. But it's like my surprise in the East. Besides, like Philly was a little bit surprised, but how far Washington dropped off this year was really a
Yeah,
shock.
yeah, and so I ended up going 7-10 on Washington, which is where they hit. I remember I was really high on them at one point in the offseason. I think my super early predictions, I had them at like 12 wins. And then right before the year started, I must have tanked them. And honestly, I'm trying to find my notes and remember why I dogged them because I know at one point I saw they had like the fourth hardest strength of schedule, and there were a couple things that spooked me. But when I saw that I only had them at 7-10, I thought, wow, man, I must have like at the last minute dropped them because I was way high on them all the way up until the season started. Uh,
I was really low on the NFC East all offseason, and then kind of I ended up bumping Dallas and Washington up. Like I'm
yeah,
looking at my original records, and I didn't have a team over 500 in that division.
yeah, yeah. See, I know I was high on Dallas again, but I was so nervous to put them over 10 wins because I was high on them last year and it blew up in my face. And so them getting to 12, I was pretty happy about that. But yeah, and that, I don't know, dude, I hate to, I don't want to talk too much about it now, but you know, it's weird. Them being at 12 wins, Mike McCarthy could be in that coach of the year conversation, but I would hate it if he won it. But,
He could also be fired after the playoffs too.
and just hand it on to Kellen Moore.
No, I think we'll, we'll talk about that when we do our picks.
All right. Anything else you want to hit on the East?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Let's go to the NFC North. And James, hey, we both nailed the Packers record at 13-4. That was nice. And then I pegged Chicago at 6-11. Um, I actually had Minnesota at 6 games, so them getting to 8 was better than I thought. And I thought the team they were going down. And then shit, had it not been for the tie, I had 3 wins for the Lions, man. So I got one part of that equation right.
Yeah, I got Minnesota right on their record. I kind of looked at it, and with them, I knew they were starting to tail off, and I knew they were going down. But I thought I basically I had them beating, basically sweeping the North, except for Green Bay. I think I had them splitting with Green Bay.
Okay.
I'm looking for the other game. Yeah, I had them splitting with Green Bay and beating the shit out of everyone else in the North. So that's where I was with them. But outside of that, I mean, that's 6 games right there, or
Yeah.
5 games. That's 5-1 right there. All I had to do was win 3 games outside that, and to get to 8-9. So that's where I was with them. And then Green Bay, I looked back at my notes and I downgraded Green Bay by 1 game
Ah,
from like where I was looking at them like way early preseason. I had Green Bay actually 12-5, and
oh, dude, and everybody was freaking out when they got freaking blanked by the Saints in week 1. Or maybe not blanked, but it was
yeah,
embarrassing, like 30-3 or some shit. And everybody was like, "Oh, maybe Rodgers really is going to retire," and all those rumors and all that, Jeopardy. Oh, and now here they are, 13-4, man. Matt LaFleur, pretty fucking legit for a head coach, dude.
mhm.
Like honestly, they got to win a Super Bowl, and he'll be like legendary. I mean, nobody's done this in their first couple of years as a head coach, and I know he fell into a great situation with Aaron Rodgers, but he's capitalized on it in a way that Mike McCarthy didn't. Mike McCarthy wasn't winning this many games every year.
Yeah. And the thing with Rodgers is I heard an interview he did recently. I'm trying to think if it was this past week or if it was the week. I think it was this past week. So, anyways, he was doing an interview, and he was talking about his relationship with Gunakrust, and apparently it's took a turn for the better there. So
Oh,
there's a chance. And then somebody had said something. The interviewer said something about the grass always being greener
oh yeah,
on the other side, and Rogers' response was, "The grass is greener where you water it."
yeah. I saw that one. Yeah, that was cool.
And it's like, damn, like he might stay in Green Bay now. Like,
Yeah, well, when push comes to shove, they're going to cater to him because he's a Hall
yeah,
of Famer, man.
yeah. And then there was all those rumors of like, oh, well, Rogers just boycott the Super Bowl if the Packers make it, and he's like, that's fucking bullshit. It's
That
like anybody who knows me, that's fucking bullshit.
yeah, that would that would be, oh my God, that would be so insane. We'd have to sue him or something. I don't know. That would be just it would just wreck the Super Bowl. All right, so NFC Northwise, you got anything else there?
No.
All right, let's go to the South, the dirty South. So I had the order right, and I nailed the records for Atlanta and Carolina. Um, I was not expecting New Orleans to drop to 9 wins, but they had a lot of injuries, particularly at quarterback, and so for them getting to 9, and I had them pegged at 11, I think that was pretty close. Um, yeah, Tampa Bay, shit, they finished 13-4. I don't know why. It seems like they did worse than that, but I guess they still won a lot of games, man.
Yeah, so this one I nailed the order, and I almost, besides Tampa Bay, I could barely find Tampa Bay losing a game on their schedule.
Yeah.
Like that's how good I thought Tampa Bay was going to be. So I ended up with them with 2 losses, but the other teams I was right on within like I had New Orleans at 8-9 and they were 9-8, and Atlanta at 6-11 and they were 7-10, and then I got Carolina right on. I
Oh yeah.
just these I just saw these teams like I knew there'd be a huge drop off without Breeze. Honestly, if Winston would have gotten hurt, the team would have probably made the playoffs.
Yeah, I think
Or
so.
or if the Rams can hold a lead, they could have made the playoffs too. But
Yeah, and it's worth noting that Michael Thomas, he was a bust for them this year, and that
he,
set him back too.
he didn't even play.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't think he even played. He got the return from IR, and then like at the last minute was like, oh no, he's going full IR, and so it just was like a tease for like the whole first like 8 9 weeks of the season, and
Hmm.
then they shut him down, and then yeah, Jameis, I think he would have done good if he had more time, to just and if he had a real receiver, but and then Tampa Bay, I remember. I put them at 14-3, and I remember thinking, man, like they returned all the starters. They had so much depth. It was the same thing. It's like 14-3 felt like I was being mean to them, but it was like you just know somewhere along the way they're going to lose, and then at the end of the year they're probably just going to bench everybody, and so it just and it didn't work out that way, but it's still just it's hard early on to call an undefeated team.
Yeah, it is but I mean, honestly, thought that if anybody was going to go 17-0, it would be them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the stars looked like they were aligned, that's for sure. Okay, so let's kick it over our last division here. We got the NFC West. This one, man, I thought it was going to be heavy at the top, where it was going to be the Rams, the 49ers, and the Seahawks all nailing 12 games, and then Arizona trailing behind. Arizona obviously ended up outperforming what I was expecting. The Rams won it, which I think everybody was predicting. And then San Francisco, they found a way to sneak in. Seattle, they shit the bed, man. And we knew that there were some gaps on that team, but I thought, shame on me, man. I thought Russell Wilson would carry them because it seemed like he always had, and so it just fell apart for them this year. And he did miss some time, so that's part of it too. But um, not good for Seattle.
No, for the West, I didn't think Seattle would drop off, like they did. Obviously, I thought San Francisco would be a little. Like I just thought this entire division be a little bit better, except for Arizona. I had no faith in them because of like the fact that they kind of tailed off last year, and I thought like the beginning of the season was a little bit of a tease for them and not actually what the team was going to be. I didn't trust Kingsbury, so
Yeah.
that's why. But I mean, still, I had 3 teams making the playoffs from this division. I had the wrong 3 teams, but I still had three
Yeah.
teams from this division making the playoffs. So
That's true. I was with you on that too, and yeah, I had Arizona out instead of Seattle. But yeah, no, we both had that right. That was good. The number anyhow. All right. So anything on the West before we wrap it up there?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So that was just a little look back. That was fun, kind of going down memory lane, just kind of looking back and figuring out how things kind of transpired. Let's talk about the playoff bet and some of the details behind that, James, because this is where shit gets real again. And we got to make some picks, but the bet for last year, I just want to make sure we're clear on it because I know that it's not the same as just the picks. Basically, we did like a sort of like a confidence number to the picks, and we're trying to get the largest number, accumulative over the course of the playoffs. And so, um, and then I think we had I went back, I was trying to find my notes. It was like hypothetically, if you didn't totally smoke me like you did, and we tied on the number, I was proposing that we just do the winner it's a coin toss. And so, do you want to stick with that again, or do you have some different proposal for this year, like doing over under on the Super Bowl or something? I don't know. Like, what are you thinking, man?
No, let's just stick with that. Just do it as a coin toss because I mean, if being with the permutations of the different numbers and values and different wins and stuff, it's so unlikely that it's a tie that if we do end up tying, then just do a coin toss because it's just
Okay. Yeah, and I mean,
it's one of
you,
us got lucky.
yeah, you smoked me after the wild card round last year, so it could be similar kind of thing this year. Okay. Yeah, and I got you. And so, in last year, because I was such a nice guy, I told you that if I won again, I would cut it in half, and so instead of $100, it'd be 50. So I will honor that same thing for this year. But obviously, if you win, you'll get 100 back. So, that's just seems like the friendly thing to do. So I'm not just totally clean. I know you got mouths to feed, James. I don't want to totally be cleaning you out here, man. Uh,
Yeah, no, it's appreciated. It's just I I forgot about that factor.
all right. Well, hey, I'm good. We'll lock it in, and let's get to the main event, man. I know that we've had a lengthy show, but now it's time for some serious shit. It's the Super Wild Card Weekend game picks, and we'll start off with the two games on Saturday. The first one is the Las Vegas Raiders at the Cincinnati Bengals. Who do you like there, James?
This game is one of those games where like I look at it and you look they played this year, if I
Yeah,
remember
since
correctly.
Cincinnati manhandled them pretty good.
But it was timing and that team is differently. I see this as a closer game,
Yeah.
but I don't think Vegas has a chance at winning the game. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you on the Bengals on this one, and I'm
Oh,
gonna give kudos to the Raiders. Oh, did you have something else to say?
that's gonna be 4 point value.
Oh shit, yeah, I gotta get my confidence level up here. I went with a 5 on this one for mine, and so I definitely given the Raiders some kudos for getting this far. I just don't see them having a chance in this game. Cincinnati had their way with them earlier in the year. When I look at the matchups, here's the thing, and this is where I could see maybe you get a little nervous, is lineups actually has these teams like super evenly matched, man. But when I do my look at it, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like Cincinnati's offense is better. I feel like their defense is better. I feel like Vegas has a good passing game, in an intermittently good running game, but then their defense is like scarcely good. And it seems like Cincinnati, they've been, we talked about a huge surprise this year, but they've been just dominant on offense, and the defense got really good. And I just feel like they can beat them too many ways. And so I'm going Cincinnati here, and I feel pretty good about it. Next up, we got the New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills.
Well, it's gonna be like Saturday. The Saturday games, looking at them, are look like they're fucking amazing games. Like,
Yeah.
tough games, tough games to pick. I think that. Well, I had Buffalo going to the Super Bowl, so I can't. I can't I can't pick them to lose in the first round when I thought they were going to be the Super Bowl team. I mean, it's going to be cold as shit. Like, no, it's going to be colder than fuck up there.
Yeah, Josh
Uh,
Allen was talking about not wanting to play in the cold. I didn't like hearing that, man.
yeah, I didn't hear Josh Allen saying that,
Yeah, he was
but
saying he has like a circulation issue in his feet, and that
oh,
like his feet go numb really fast in the cold. And I forget who it was. Like some guy, some old player was like, take fucking Viagra or something because it helps with blood flow. And it was dude, it was all over the radio the other day on 97.1, and they were saying, yeah, you won't get a boner because you're not like being sexually stimulated. It'll just help the blood flow to your feet so they'll stay warm for the game. And like, yeah, I guess like some old player like vouched for it or something, and just crazy shit. So
so what it boiled down to in this game for me is a rookie quarterback has since 2010 a rookie quarterback has not won a postseason game,
that's a good stat.
and there's been six. They're 0-6 in postseason games, so I'm gonna go with Buffalo in this game, but I'm gonna assign it a lower value. I'm gonna put it at a what did I put it at? I'm gonna put it at a 2,
Okay.
just because of the fact that I mean it is Belichick, it is the Patriots. It's kind of hard to pick against them, but Buffalo's I think is gonna win the game.
Yeah, I think, dude, I mean, everything you said, I'm just going to mirror. I'm going with Buffalo. I struggled with this one. It's really hard betting against Belichick. And I think that despite how strong the Patriots turnaround has been, Buffalo is the deeper team talent wise. They're a little bit better on defense, and they're a little bit more explosive on offense. I think that early season win that the Patriots got, where, Mac Jones only threw the ball like 3 times or whatever it was too fluky. And I think that Buffalo, they're just better prepared now, and they have more ways to win in this game. And so I'm going Buffalo here. All right, kicking it over to Sunday. The first game I got here is Philadelphia Eagles at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who do you like there, James?
So this game is my most confident pick of the week. This
Okay.
game is going to be, it's probably going to be within 10 points, but there's no way in hell Jalen Hurts can beat
The
Tom Brady.
GOAT.
So I'm going with Tampa Bay.
All right. So I'm going Tampa Bay as well, but I'm going to be honest. This game does make me a little bit nervous, and so I'm giving it a 3 for my confidence interval or whatever we're calling it. Um, Tampa Bay won 28-24 when they played back in Week 6, and this is why it makes me nervous. It's just that it seems like a lot has changed since then. Philly has gotten their shit together for the most part. Jalen Hurts has been impressive. They got the top rushing offense in the league. Their defense has gotten better. But, flipping it over and looking at Tampa Bay, it's like I'm just carrying it. The similar kind of concern is that they've had a number of issues with players, Antonio Brown, Godwin getting injured, a number of other injuries, especially on defense. I still believe the Buccaneers have more talent, and you definitely can't bet against Brady. But I feel like this is a little bit of an upset alert. It gives me that little like the hair sticking up on the back of the neck, man. But I'm going Tampa Bay. I think it'd be hard to not go Tampa Bay in this game.
Yeah, but one thing, they did win 28-22 and wasn't in Philly when they won 28-22, but you also have to remember that Tampa Bay, the last play of the game was from Tampa Bay had the ball on Philadelphia's 8-yard line and they took a knee.
Okay.
They had first and goal at the 6-yard line at the 2-minute warning, and all Tampa Bay did was take knees.
Gotcha. All right. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Philly's gotten a lot better since then, and Tampa Bay has deteriorated. That's why I have concern.
Oh, I get you. It's just
Yeah.
a couple things to remember about it.
Sure. No, and I appreciate that. All right, so next up on Sunday, we've got the San Francisco 49ers at the Dallas Cowboys. Man, this is like an old school playoff matchup. I remember these guys playing all the time when I was growing up in the playoffs.
Yeah. So this is my least confident pick of the game because I can see or pick of the week because I can see this game going either way.
Okay.
Um, the thing I looked at, I feel sorry for Dallas because if Dallas matched up against any other team besides the 49ers, I think Dallas would have won the game and had a chance at going
Okay.
maybe to the championship game Super Bowl. But the 49ers and Dallas, if you look at the matchup, it's it favors style of play, uh, kind of favors the 49ers a little bit in this game.
Okay.
I think, unfortunately, if it favors the 49ers too much in this game, I think there's a chance that Jerry Jones could just fire McCarthy like in the locker room after the game. Like seriously, like to lose to the 49ers, you have this offense. I don't trust McCarthy in this game. I think Shanahan's the better coach. Yeah, Prescott's the better quarterback, but Garoppolo doesn't really need to do much. Just hand the ball off and let pound it down, slow the game down, win the game 13-7, move to the next round, and San Francisco wins.
Okay. Well, I like that. I'd love it if the 49ers won just because I like Shanahan. I'm a big fan. I'm picking Dallas in this game. I just been down on San Fran all year. They had injuries earlier on. They've struggled at quarterback. They've struggled at running back, and we've known all year that they've had problems in the secondary on defense. I do think Deebo Samuel's legit, but he's a little gimmicky, man. It's like Cordero Patterson with the way that they're running him so much, and it's not all getting done through the air. And so to me, you know, it's nice that the production's been there, but I always worry about the sustainability of that when it's like gimmicky like that. And then on the flip side, Dallas, you know, they've been more consistently good in my opinion this year. They've had an electric offense that like barely missed a beat because Dak got hurt, and it's like, but he had like a bad game, and then it's been like lights out ever since. And I think the big surprise for Dallas, it's obvious for everybody, is just how well their defense played this year. They were so bad last year, and they just turned it around in a major way. A lot of that's Micah Parsons, Dan Quinn, and defensive coordinator. Um, I don't know, man. When I look at it all, I feel like Dallas is going to expose that 49ers secondary. I feel like Dallas's offensive line is back in form as like one of those top offensive lines, which will neutralize that San Fran pass rush. And so I'm going Dallas in this game, which is nice. We got some action, and I'm going to give it I'm giving these guys a 4. Okay, next up, last game on Sunday, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know how much you love the Steelers, James, but why don't you give me your breakdown?
So this game probably going to be something in like 45-3, and
Shit.
the only real question is how did Pittsburgh score 3 points? Um, Honestly, the Chiefs could sit all their starters and win this game, and you have it as a pseudo bye game. It's an exhibition game, basically. I mean, Mahomes might not even play in the second half. It's going to be so far. They're just going to dominate the game. Roethlisberger might just quit at halftime because they're getting beat down so bad. But I'm going to give it a 5.
Okay. Well, I'm taking the Chiefs as well. I'm giving it my 6 here. This is my big one. Um, it's tough, man. I like Big Ben, but he's at the end of the rope, man, and he can't push the ball down the field anymore, which is a huge problem. And then even if he can, like we saw it last week, man, his receivers fucking drop passes, and so it's just not working for them. And then their defense is having struggles. It's good that TJ Watt's kicking ass, but they don't really have a whole lot else going on defense, which is abnormal for a Steelers defense. KC, on the other hand, their defense has been night and day since they acquired Melvin Ingram going into week 9. And their offense obviously got their shit together too. I mean, they look like a fucking Super Bowl team again. And so I'm going Kansas City with obviously high confidence. I'm giving them the
Oh,
6.
A note for this game is it looks like Schuster might be back for the game. He's on track to play.
Okay. I
From
don't
what
think that changes anything,
doesn't
but
change the name. It's
yeah.
just a note for the game that he looks like he's going to play.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, he had the great rookie year, and then it's kind of just been he's not lived up to the expectations since. But
Mm.
hopefully he gets it back on track because he did show some potential back then. So, okay, last game for Super Wildcard Weekend. We got Monday night the Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams, and I believe this is the first Monday night game on a Wildcard Weekend. James, does that seem right to you?
That's the first one I can remember.
I think so. I think so. Yeah. But yeah. So give me your pick and your rundown, man.
I'm so hesitant on this game, especially now that I'm hearing that J.J. Watt's more than likely going to play, which good for him. He gets to play in the playoff game.
How
Uh,
good is he gonna be, man? I don't know.
how good is he going to be exactly? You know, I think the Rams. I think the Super Bowl is between the Rams and Green Bay from the NFC. Dallas, if they were playing any other had any other path, would have an outside shot at it. But it's between the Rams and Green Bay, and I don't think Arizona can go. At least Stafford has the playoff experience. He's played in a playoff game. Kyler Murray hasn't. I don't trust Cliff Kingsbury as a coach. I I'm hesitant to trust Stafford because of the fact that he's been so shaky as of late. But I'm also hearing that Akers is going to be back for the game,
Yeah.
so I'm going to go with the Rams. I'm going to give it my like a middle of the road, my 3 confidence level on it, just because because Arizona did go into SoFi and beat the Rams earlier in the season, but I think the teams were on different trajectories at that time.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to go with the Rams.
Yeah. So I'm zigzagging on this one a little bit, and I'm going with the Cardinals. I think it's looking at a lot of the analysts. This is an unpopular pick. I think, like you said, the trajectories have changed. Arizona's been trending down. Los Angeles, even though Stafford's been a little bit of a turnover machine to close out the season, you know, people are still pretty high on them. Um, and I think it could be a dicey pick going with Arizona. I just, and some of this is just my muscle memory with Stafford and his time in Detroit. I just don't have faith in him, and it's tough because I feel like that team could just carry him and win, but I also feel like Kyler could just like will them to a win because he's that good of a quarterback for Arizona, and it's like he's that ultra competitive. I think the bigger thing is for Arizona is if DeAndre Hopkins plays or not, and I heard that it's up in the air right now. If
Hmm.
he's out, um, it'd be tough. But if he plays, I think Arizona finds a way to get the upset. I'm not confident at all, so I'm just giving it my 1 for my confidence pick. So yeah, but we got a little bit of action. 2 different teams, 2 different games rather, and yeah, we'll see how it shakes out, man. But we are here. I am happy and I am sad at the same time because it's like, damn, it's almost over. Bums me out.
Hmm.
So yeah. All right, so those are the picks. Let's move it on to our question of the week. And so, James, I wanted to circle back, talk about the coach of the year stuff. I was going to give you a question about Antonio Brown and whether or not a team should take a shot on him for the playoffs. Let's just say, fuck that. Nobody should touch him with a 10-foot pole right now. But coach of the year, man, who do you like and why?
Well, I mean, I like I like Vrabel to win it. I think other candidates that have a shot at it. I would start with Sean Payton. Like I mean, to for the Saints to win 8 games this year, losing their starting quarterback coming into the season, losing Winston, not having Michael Thomas, I think that's an excellent coaching job. I mean, LaFleur, it's kind of hard to say he could be coach of the year because I mean he does have Aaron Rodgers, and same with Tampa Bay. I think another. I just think Yeah, I don't like. I think Vrabel is like clear-cut candidate with what he did in Tennessee and getting that team to have the best record in the AFC, second best record in the league. Like, I'm very hard pressed to make an argument for anyone else besides Vrabel.
Yeah, I like. I think Vrabel is the top pick for me. I think, I'm nervous about McCarthy being in the conversation because they got to 12 wins also. And it was a bigger swing from last year to this year. Tennessee was good last year. Dallas was not. And so like
Yeah,
I could see people being like, "Oh, McCarthy, man, he really turned it around." And
but he
um
turned it around. He had a quarterback.
I hear what you're saying, but Dallas was so bad last year, and to get to 12 wins this year, it's just bigger improvement than what Vrabel did, is all I'm saying. Because they won like 10 games last year, and so going from 10 to 12 is, with an extra game on the season, not as big of an improvement. That's all I'm saying. Is
No,
the
no,
argument that you could give it to McCarthy instead of Vrabel? I would
I,
prefer it going to Vrabel.
I, I'll give you that. But when did but you have to remember that like Dak Prescott went
He went
down
down early on.
early on
No,
last year.
I agree. I agree. And so that's painting the full picture, but I still just think people are going to look at it and be like, "Oh my God, the team, you look at how bad the defense was, how good they are this year." And it's like, "Well, that's more Dan Quinn than him, but he's the head coach. He's going to get a lot of credit for the overall improvement in getting that team to 12 wins." And so, no, I like Vrabel. I'm a huge fan. He's one of my favorite coaches. Aside from those two, I think you could make a case. I'm blown away saying it, and I don't think it's right, but Zach Taylor, just because Cincinnati got to 10 wins, I think that's all on, well, not all on Burrow, but I think a lot of that's on Burrow and Jamar Chase. But the defense did get better, and so you could maybe say, okay, give him a little bit of love, at least put him in the conversation. And then this might be an unpopular thing, but I would even argue you could put Belichick in that conversation because they sucked last year. It was like a blow up and turn it around year. And you look at how quick things got back on track for them with a rookie quarterback. I know what you're saying. I see the look on your face. I'm just saying I think it should be in the conversation somewhere. I'm not saying he wins it. I'm just saying it's something that you got to give him some credit for.
Okay. I I just I find it difficult to give it to Belichick because if you look at the rosters, compare the rosters between the 2 years. Last year they were 7-9. This year they're 10-7. So with the extra game, it's a 3-game improvement. Or I mean, you want a 2-game improvement really because of the fact that you want to take out the extra game. I don't I don't think that's coach of the year meant worthy. I think Tennessee
With a rookie quarterback, man.
with a rookie quarterback that everyone was saying if San Francisco drafted him that they would be a fucking Super Bowl contender.
All right. Agree to disagree. I mean, I like what you were saying about San Fran, but I'm all I'm saying is I'm giving them credit. Whether you
No,
want to discount that or not, that's fine. This is just one man's opinion.
give him credit, but I just don't think it's as impressive as what happened in Tennessee with
Yeah,
Derrick Henry.
without Derrick Henry. No, I agree. Like I said, I would give it to Vrabel. I think that McCarthy probably has the second greatest argument, which I don't like. Then I would maybe put Zach Taylor in there. But I would also mention Bill Belichick because I think it was a big turnaround. But no, those are just the ones that I see in the discussion, James.
Okay.
So yeah, good stuff. So yeah, all right. Well, hey, that was the question of the week. We tweaked it on the fly there. So anybody who's still watching, hit us up. Let us know your thoughts. Just like name that stadium. We'd love you to shoot us some comments on the question of the week. And It was a lengthy one tonight, James, but we covered a lot of good stuff, and I'm excited for the playoffs, man. You got any final thoughts?
No, I don't think so. I think I got all my rants out.
All right. Cool. Well, hey, anybody who's still watching, if you like the show, give us a thumbs up or a like, whatever platform you're on. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate the support. James, like always, man, it's been good. I will catch you later.
All right, sounds good. Have a good one.
Gridiron Grinder. Hut hut hike.